Mockingbird and Liarbird by Rei Wakayami on AO3. Chapter 19. Izuku lets his gaze wander faultily around as he's shoved into a chair and bounced to it by handcuffs. They force a muzzle over his mouth before he can say anything. He has no idea where he is or how long it's been. The last thing he remembers is being in the forest with Katsuki, turning to see that masked man and then seeing nothing. Obviously, something's happened between now and then. A quirk, probably, used to subdue them. As he watches, another chair is brought out, much sturdier than Izuku's, with heavy restraints on it. The same masked man from before comes up and holds out a blue head before it suddenly expands, and Katsuki is just standing there in shock before they force him back into the chair and strap him down. Heavy metal boxes are strapped over his hands to keep him from using his quirk. Sit tight. Don't go anywhere. The one with heavy burns, scars all over, says with a smirk, walking out of the room. Katsuki looks around, spies Izuku in the chair near him, and his eyes narrow before he growls softly. Izuku has to fight to keep his panic at bay, starting to feel like he can't breathe with the muzzle on. He can hear Aizawa in his head spinning, calmly and smoothly. When you are in a bind, whether physically or restrained or in a tight situation, you need to remain calm. Panic will only make you have mistakes. Calm your breathing. Calm your heart. You panic later. First and foremost, you need to be rational and calm. He needs to keep calm. He slowly breathes through his nose. Once you're calm, the next thing is to study your surroundings, if you could find. Find your exit. Find things you could use, or what can hinder you. Izuku flicks his eyes around. It looks like a bar. A rundown bar. Or at least what Izuku thinks a rundown bar would look like. He's never been to any bar before. There's a man made of purplish smoke behind the counter in a suit, cleaning glasses. He's not paying them any mind, but Izuku is sure he's well aware of them. There's a door behind the counter that the others went into. There's a second door near them, but as Izuku glances at it, he can see it's a heavy wooden door with multiple locks on it. It's not getting out that way easy. There's no windows as far as he could tell. There are rows of glasses and bottles behind the counter, metal stools, and a few chairs across the room. There's a TV across the way as well. Other than the guy behind the counter, they're as alone as they can be right now. Figure out your opponent's mistakes. They always make one. Find it and use it to your advantage. They're mistakes. There's the obvious. They think his quirk is vocal and not emitter. The muzzle is useless except as a means to make it harder to breathe. It's a little ironic to put a muzzle on a mute person. Izuku shifts slightly and tests the handcuffs. They're tied around his wrists where they've tied him behind, but not cutting into his skin or cutting off circulation. He shifts his feet and realizes that the ones around his ankles are attached to the legs of the chairs. If he tips back far enough, he could slip the other end of the legs and free his legs. He also notices the faint bulge in his pocket and realizes with a start that they didn't check what he has on him. They just cuffed him to the chair and left after securing Katsuki. Does Katsuki have his phone on him? Izuku doubts it. He hadn't brought his with him, not expecting to need it and not wanting for it to get broken in case he fell in the woods. But he does have his drone, which has a tracking chip in it. He also reaches as discreetly as he can, straining his shoulders to do so, and feels along the bottom of the hem of his shirt. It takes a second, but he finally finds it. A small, discreet bit of wire he stashed in his shirt. Something Aizawa has said he should do, and it became a habit. You never know when you need to pick a lock, problem child. A bit of good wire can go a long way. He even showed him and Hitoshi how to pick locks, both using lockpicks and different uncommon tools like wire. Izuku's breath hitches a bit at the thought of Hitoshi. Is he alright? He hasn't seen him, so hopefully they didn't take him too, but the villains attacked the camp. Izuku had smelled the fire in the woods. Did Hitoshi get hurt? What about Aizawa and Vlad, the other students? Koda, the wild pussycats? Izuku forces himself to take a slow, deep breath to calm down. He can panic later. Right now, he needs to figure out a plan for him and Katsuki to get the hell out of here and call for help. Izuku can use his drone, but it's noisy and will draw attention and they'll destroy it. So, they need to get out of the room and the building first. Breathing, Izuku closes his eyes and listens. Somehow, they've not noticed that his hearing enhancers, and he listens out. How many are there? He hears Katsuki closest, grinding his teeth as metal rub against the wooden armrest of his chair. He can hear the one behind the bar. There's the sound of his breathing and the squeak of the cloth over the glass as he cleans the cup. He can hear voices beyond the door. One he recognizes as the masked person, another is the burn man, one is a horrifyingly familiar Shigaraki talking as well. He can make out two female voices, one deeper than the other. He hears two other male voices, one speaking in two different voices, but the same vocal bass notes. Well, we got them, though we were unable to get the brainwasher, the burn guy says. They wanted Hitoshi too. My apologies. I was unable to locate him, and once the time limit was up, I decided to cut our losses, the masked one says. It's okay, Compress. You did wonderful, the higher female voice says. Hey, Tomura-kun, can we make these two bleed, please? She asks sweetly. No, Shigaraki murmurs. These two are pieces towards my goal. Izuku frowns, recalling his words to the man. Had it really stuck that much of a chord with him? The green one was there the night Stain was taken. He deemed him worthy enough to save. We can't kill him. One of the unknown male says. Well, what are we going to do with them? The burn guy demands. I didn't trek through the woods for nothing. What's your plan? Shigaraki sighs. I'll explain it soon enough. We need to wait for things to calm down before we make any moves. No one leaves here without telling me, got it? Shigaraki orders. Of course, darling. The other voice murmurs. This can't go wrong. You're not the boss of me. Another voice speaks twice. Izuku opens his eyes with a huff. Why did they take them? He looks to see Katsuki is glaring a hole in the smoked guy's head, though the man isn't reacting. Breathing slowly, Izuku throws his voice out, keeping it to a bare whisper into Katsuki's ear. Kachan, he murmurs, and red eyes flicker over to him. Don't speak, just listen. Katsuki's eyes turn ahead to continue glaring. We need to get out of here. I have a way to signal for help, but first we need to get out of this room and building, Izuku explains. How tight are your bindings? Can you get out of them on your own? Izuku asks. The faintest shake of his head is his answer. Okay, I can pick the locks on mine, but unless we can distract them or incapacitate them long enough for me to get you free and to bust down the door behind us, we're stuck here, Izuku says with a frown. Katsuki shoots a glare at him for stating the obvious. Yes, I know, Izuku murmurs with a roll of his eyes. He checks the guy behind the bar, but he's still focused on his glass cleaning. Strange yellow eyes not even glancing at them. I'm thinking of a plan, but until I have it all thought out, don't do anything stupid, please, Izuku asks. Katsuki doesn't answer, so Izuku takes it as an agreement. To be honest, he has a way to take them down, at least for a few minutes. The problem is, he's only done it once, on Aizawa-sensei. From what he can hear, there are 8 people in the bar, including the one behind the bar. That's a lot of people. The only way to make this work is if everyone in the room is with them. Thankfully, the bar's main room is fairly small, so it might just work. Izuku closes his eyes again and listens, but no one is having any conversations about their plans. He can hear humming, the sound of someone typing on a phone, the scratching of nails on skin, the same squeak of cloth over glass, the sound of mechanical breathing. Wait. Izuku opens his eyes in surprise. It's faint, but it's there. It's coming from this room, but all he can see is Katsuki and the smoke guy. Where Izuku's eyes scan the room, and then he pauses on the TV. He can see a faint red light blinking slowly, and it takes a moment to pick out the glint of light on the lens of the webcam in the shadows. Someone is watching them. Right now. The screen is off, but he's not sure if the microphone that is probably there is off. Kachan, Izuku whispers again. I think I could take them all down, at least for a few minutes. It's something I was working with Aizawa-sensei on, but I've only done it once on one person. Izuku admits. Katsuki growls lowly under his breath. Look, it's all I've got, and it's not like I've had the chance to practice it more. What with being kidnapped? Izuku reminds him. Look, I could take them down for a short while. The problem is, we're being watched. There is a webcam on that TV, and I can hear breathing coming from the speakers. If we do this, it has to be when they stop watching us. Otherwise, they can call in help, Izuku explains. I need you to act as both lure and distraction. We need to draw most, if not all of them into this room before I can hit them with my quirk. I can't do it because they think my quirk is connected by this muzzle. If I start talking, it will give up our plan. Do whatever you have to get them in this room, short of making them hurt you, Izuku orders. Katsuki sends him a withering glare. Yes, I know I'm not the boss of you. Shut up, freak, yada yada. Get over yourself, Kachan. I'm not dying here because you don't like taking orders. If you got a better plan, I'm all ears. Izuku hissed quietly. Katsuki is silent, shoulders tense. That's what you thought. You can yell at me later. Let's just get out of here. I'll signal when the person stops watching us. There's an annoyed huff of breath, but Katsuki nods ever so slightly, breathing slowly. Izuku closes his eyes, letting his head hang a bit, and just listens. He hears conversations, people moving about, and various other sounds. He can faintly hear the sounds of foot traffic outside the building, but more than likely there's somewhere that a lot of people don't go. Izuku doesn't know how much time has passed when the door behind the bar opens and Shigaraki comes in by himself. He sends the two of them a look, but settles on the bar stool. Sensei, Shigaraki says out loud. Yes, Tomura Shigaraki. A deep voice murmurs out of thin air, and Izuku shivers at the sound of that voice. Some inner animal part of his brain saying that that voice means trouble, more than anything he's encountered so before. What are they doing? Shigaraki asked. The heroes are scrambling their tails and redirecting blame everywhere, while their search fruitless for their lost people. I doubt they will come anywhere close to finding us. I suggest you start your plan soon. I believe they're broadcasting a conference tomorrow. The boy says. A slow smile spreads across Shigaraki's face. Yes, that will do nicely, Shigaraki murmurs. I will do whatever is needed to make your goal a reality. The voice hums, and then the sound of breathing cuts off. Shigaraki remains seated at the bar as the bartender fills a glass for him to drink from. Izuku listens, but the sound of breathing is gone, and if you focus hard enough, he can hear the hum of the electrical currents through the wires of the webcam, and in fact, the blinking light has gone dark. This is the opportunity they need. Kachan, he stopped watching us. Izuku whispers, as quietly as he can to make sure Shigaraki can't hear them. Katsuki doesn't acknowledge him, and Izuku waits, heart beating like a drum in his throat before Katsuki finally makes his move. Oi! Katsuki growls lowly, and Shigaraki lowers his glass to turn and look at him. What the fuck are you planning, you wrinkled asshole? Katsuki yells out. Izuku can hear the sounds in the other room stop, as Katsuki's voice carries. I don't think you deserve to know just yet. Shigaraki huffs, angrily back. It's not time yet. The fuck with that? Like I fucking care what time it is. You fuckers went and attacked us, snatched us up, and you expect us to be docile little lambs for the slaughter? Take these fucking cuffs off, and I'll show you how docile I can be. Katsuki howls out. The door opens, and the burn guy steps into the room. The one in the mask follows, and a third with a heavy mutation quirk soon follows. I see someone finally woken up from his nap. The burn guy huffs out. Shut the fuck up, you horror movie reject. Katsuki snarls out, straining against the cuffs. Now, that's just rude language. The lower female voice murmurs, and the other comes in, two more behind her. Izuku can't believe this is working. They're all in the room. He focuses on the TV, and it's still silent. Shut the fuck up before I make you shut the fuck up. The burn guy hisses, and blue flames erupt from his palms. Dabi, don't be mean, a blonde teen says with a wicked grin. Let me calm him down. Blood always calms me down, she says, a knife appearing out of nowhere. Do you want to bleed? She asks, head tilting with a giggle. Fuck you, you dumb blonde, Katsuki snarls. Izuku pulls the wire from his shirt with a move that makes his wrist hurt, but he ignores the pain. They're all focusing on Katsuki, which means he could focus on picking the lock. Heart in his throat, Izuku tunes them out to pick the lock as quickly as he can without being obvious about it. I think Blondie needs a lesson on who's in charge here, Dabi murmurs angrily, advancing. No. Shigaraki speaks up, and they all look at him. They just don't understand why they were chosen. If we simply explain, they'll come to understand why we took them and be more agreeable. Izuku pauses to see eyes on him as well. He almost got the lock picked. Focus back on Katsuki. Who the fuck cares about that shitty Deku? He's fucking useless, Katsuki growls out. Now that's not very nice, the knife girl says angrily. No one is useless, she scoffs. They focus on Katsuki again, and the cuff clips, faintly with a twist of the wire. He checks and finds the webcam is still off. I'll try to keep it away from you, but sorry in advance if I hit you, Izuku whispers to Katsuki. Focusing on the room as a whole, he throws his voice out and unleashes the strongest frequency without his voice enhancer. There's a moment of nothing, and then glass starts shattering all around them as bottles and glass shatter underneath the resonating sound waves. They all panicked, looking around for the source of the attack, but before they can do more than move a few feet, they start to collapse, one after the other. The smoke guy collapses almost instantly, and Izuku flies that away for later comment. Izuku slips the unlocked handcuff off his wrist and tips the chair back to release his leg, ignoring the muzzle for now. Izuku focuses on the metal contraption strapped around Katsuki's hand. Hurry the fuck up, Katsuki hisses. Izuku doesn't even answer, too focused on getting the strap undone and pulling it off of Katsuki. Katsuki reaches for the other one, and Izuku turns to his legs, freeing them as well. Katsuki stands with a surge of rage. Can you take out the door? Izuku asks, pointing towards the door. With pleasure, Katsuki growls and, with a single explosion, knocks the door off its hinges and into the wall of buildings across the alley they're in. They start running before it finished landing. Izuku messes with the straps of the muzzle as they run and finally gets it undone, yanking it off to pull in a deep breath. Reaching into his pocket, he pulls out his drone and presses the top. It lights up and beeps. Activate distress beacon for Liarbird. Izuku orders, and it beeps loudly before buzzing in his hand. Izuku tucks it back into his pocket. Let's hope Hitoshi is near his gear. We need to get somewhere crowded. I don't know how long that will keep them down. Aizawa-sensei was only down for a few minutes, but there was only him. Spreading it across a whole room will probably lessen the amount of time. Izuku helps out as they creed out into the designated narrow street and keep running. Then move your ass. Katsuki growls and picks up speed. Izuku right on his trail. Hitoshi sits up in a chair and stares silently ahead. Parents have been coming and going for hours, taking students home that are well enough to go or demanding answers about what is wrong with those who aren't. Most of those who have been put in the makeshift recovery room have already gone home. It's just him and a few from 1B and Ida. Ida, having just come from getting something from the vending machine down the hall, walks over to hand a can of coffee to Hitoshi, who nods and thanks. Popping the can, he takes a swig. It's not how he usually takes his coffee, but anything is better than nothing right now. He hasn't slept since they got to the hospital, too keyed up with worry to sleep right now, and his insomnia rears its ugly head again. Not that he wants to sleep. Not while Izuku's gone. Kidnapped. And having who knows what to him. Ida settles next to him with a sigh. I spoke with Midnight Sensei in the hall, but still no news. He murmurs, and Hitoshi nods morsely. How are you? He asks softly. How do you think? Hitoshi snaps angrily before forcing himself to take a deep breath. Sorry. It's fine. Ida waves off. Then he frowns, his head cocked to the side. Is something beeping? He asks, and Hitoshi frowns as well. Listening, there's a muffled beeping sound coming from underneath the seat. Leaning forward, all he sees is a duffel bag of things and his costume case. Reaching down, Hitoshi pulls the costume case up and hears it a little better. Snapping the clips open, he pops open the lid and shrills. Beeps get even louder. A couple of the 1B students look his way. Hitoshi's heart skips as he opens a complimented in this case and sees the stealth drone is blinking, vibrating, and beating shrilly. What is wrong with it? Ida asks, as Hitoshi realizes what he's seeing. Snatching it, and his rich attachment next to it, Hitoshi snaps the case shut and stands in a rush. Ida, where are our teachers? He demands quickly. Down the hall in the conference room, Ida says, and Hitoshi takes off at a dead sprint. His eyes flicker along the walls, searching out for the room in question. The hospital isn't that big, and they've all taken the second floor. The room in question comes into view, and Hitoshi doesn't even knock, simply barges in a panic rush. Heads turn quickly in his entrance. Dad! Dad! Hitoshi yells out breathlessly as both Shota and Hisashi stand quickly. Hitoshi, what is it? Shota demands. It's Izuku, Hitoshi says breathily and holds up the drone that's still beeping. May installed a distress beacon program that links the drone together. He has his on him when they took him. He must have activated it somehow. Hitoshi gets out in a rush. Show me. Shota orders, and Hitoshi nods, pressing the top button of the drone to make it hover, before pressing a few buttons on his wrist screen. There's a beep, and a mechanical voice that calls out, Mockingbird in distress, loudly before a map is projected on the floor. Where is this? Hisashi asks, watching a blinking light move from one section of the street to another before making a turn. Where is Mockingbird? Hitoshi asks the drone. A few seconds later, a city name pops up. Kimino Ward, Nezu murmurs. How quickly can we get there? Vlad asks. I can get there the fastest, All Might speaks up, suddenly growing into his muscled form. If I can take that, I can track them and and extract them, he continues. Not without me, Shota snaps, already back to the wrist screen and watching it, and twists his wrist. Aizawa-san, I can do this, All Might says evenly. This isn't about what you can do, All Might. It's about the fact that I am getting my students back myself. If you keep arguing, or if you don't just agree, and we can leave. He presses a few buttons on the screen, and the drone's map disappears as it lands on his hand. The screen lights up with the map. Well? Shota demands. Very well. I assume you could hold on tight? All Might capsulates. Oh, I can, Shota says, grimly, gripping his capture scarf. We will keep acting like normal to draw a false sense of security while you two search for the two. I will rally some help and send them your way as soon as possible, Nezu says. Hang on, Hitoshi says quickly and tears off the back of the room to his case. Ida looks up and he reels, but Hitoshi ignores him while he finds the small container with his communicators. Snatching them, he races back to see Shota and All Might standing in the hall waiting for him. These are my communicators. When you get close enough, they should connect automatically to Izuku's hearing enhancers, Hitoshi explained, and Shota nods, taking out one of the drones to tuck it into his ear and hands the other to All Might, who stucks it in as well. We're going. Stay with Hisashi, Shota orders, and Hitoshi nods, hands shaking. I'm gonna bring him home, Hitoshi. I promise, Shota says, squeezing his shoulders before the two pros walk quickly from the hospital. Hitoshi watches through the hospital window as Shota wraps his capture scarf around All Might and holds down as the man launches himself into the air and quickly disappears in the direction of the distress signal. They'll get them, Toshi, Hisashi murmurs from behind, and Hitoshi nods. Izuku curses, ducking under another grabbing body, and keeps running. Apparently, the one in the bodysuit can make multiples of himself, and the others, because that's the fifth one he's tried to grab him, though they're lost in a maze of what appears to be a warehouse district. A small explosion pops ahead, and another clone turns to sludge as Katsuki snarls in anger. Where the fuck are they? He growls to Izuku. I don't know, just keep running, Izuku huffs out. A figure appears at the end of the road, and Izuku recognizes him. Watch out! He shouts as blue flames erupt from the man's hand and stream down the road towards them. Izuku and Katsuki make a quick right, only to see a dead end. Go, I can scale it. Izuku huffs and Katsuki nods, hands igniting as he launches himself to the top of the wall. He turns and reaches out as Izuku takes the wall to a sprint, using corner to corner to jump back and forth, up the wall until he flings his hands up for Katsuki to grab him and pull him the rest of the way. They jump down to the other side and keep running. Izuku's hearing enhancers beep in his ear and he frowns, pressing the button on them. Liarbird connecting. The sound in his ears before a voice comes through. Izuku, where are you? Aizawa's voice sounds like the best thing in the world right now. Sensei? Izuku says shakily. I don't know. This part of town is a maze. Watch-on. Let off a small explosion towards the sky to act as a flare. Izuku calls out to Katsuki. That'll draw them right to us, he growls out. Aizawa-sensei is close enough to connect with my communicators. Hitoshi got my signal, Izuku explains, breathlessly. Fuck! Katsuki stops for a second, aims up, and lets loose a blare into the air. I see it. We're on our way, Aizawa says. Who else is with you? Izuku asks as he and Katsuki keep running, hearing steps getting closer. I am here, young Midoriya, All Might says over the connection, and Izuku could cry right now. They come out in an open area where it looks like a building was torn down and finds even more clones waiting for them as well as probably the original. They slid to a halt, unable to go further. Kachan, they're almost here. Aizawa-sensei and All Might. We just need to keep them at bay. Izuku whispers at him, and Katsuki nods, explosions popping from his hands. Fucking try it, I dare you, you assholes, he yells out. One of the blonde clone giggled before rushing at Izuku, knife slashing at him, and Izuku grabs her wrist and twists it, using her momentum to throw her over his shoulder and slam her down on the ground. She dissolves into sludge. An explosion pops behind him, and two clones burst. Hang on, Aizawa says firmly, and then something lands on the ground with a heavy slam. The ground crackles under the impact, and Izuku looks to see All Might standing in a small crater. Aizawa-sensei, perched on his shoulder, capture scarf wrapped around his torso. Oh, thank gods, Izuku whispers. The scarf unwinds and glowing red eyes scan the group of villains before suddenly most of them dissolve as Aizawa erases the villain's quirk. That's not fair, the villain cries out. That's so cool. Shota jumps down and positions himself in front of Izuku and Katsuki. Stay behind me, he orders. This lame hero again. I thought I beat your level already. Shigaraki growls out, walking forward. Party poopers, the blonde whines. I just wanted to see them bleed just a little bit, she says eagerly, waving her blade around. They look so pretty covered in red. Kogagiri, take care of the interlopers, Shigaraki orders. Yes, Shigaraki Tomura, Kirigiri says and steps forwards. Aizawa switches his gaze to Kirigiri and he frowns. How long can you keep from blinking, Eraserhead? Shigaraki asks with a smirk. Izuku throws his voice out and uses the same attack he'd used before on the warp user. Only, all of it is forced on him, and the man goes down like a puppet with its strings cut. Aizawa shoots him a glance as he blinks. He's apparently really susceptible to sound attacks, and I think it's based of the smoke that makes up his body, Izuku says quickly, and he nods. Shigaraki growls in annoyance. Get up, Kurogiri, he demands, but the man neither moves nor speaks. You, he murmurs, turning burning red eyes on Izuku. Aizawa steps between them. Before anyone can move, All Might suddenly moves in a blur of motion, and where he leaves, bodies land on the ground. The fire guy gasps for air, clutching his stomach in pain as the larger woman cries out shriekily. The lizard guy and the blonde girl go down with cries of pain, while the bodysuit gray and the masked guy don't even make a sound. Only Shigaraki is left standing. I will bring you in myself, All Might says, lowly, angrily. Before anyone could say anything, black sludge starts to appear around them and loud screeches around as more of those strange creatures, the Nomu, appear. Shit, where the hell did these come from? Aizawa snaps, his capture scarf lashing out to wrap around one and fling it to two more. Izuku backs up to put his back to Katsuki's. He ducks under a reaching hand and kicks out, but it doesn't have much impact. He lashes out with a sound attack and the thing screeches and recoils. Explosion sounds behind him as Katsuki takes out one. Kigurigiri, take out All Might, Shigaraki orders. Izuku looks over to see the man starting to rise as the paralysis wears off. Thinking frantically, Izuku tries something stupid. Bringing up the voice he heard in the bar, he calls out to the warp user. Kogagiri, send Shigaraki Tomura back to the bar. Izuku orders in the voice. Izuku is too busy focused on Kurogiri to see the way All Might stares at him in shock at the voice he just used. Kurogiri, as if that voice hit some button in his brain, nods and opens a gate under Shigagiri's feet. The man disappearing with an angry shout before the gate closes, and Kurogiri stands there waiting for more orders. Well now, aren't you a clever one? The voice says, and Izuku looks around. Katsuki, Aizawa, and All Might doing so as well and watches as the tall figure walks out of the shadows of a nearby alley. It was a mistake to underestimate you, and to not realize the full extent of your quirk. It won't happen again. No, All Might whispers in shock. Yes, indeed, All Might. The man says and steps out into the light of the street lamps, the light reflecting off the sharp and curved edges of some strange helmet he's wearing. All Might, who is he? Aizawa demands sharply, even as he sends another Nomu flying into another with his scarf. All for one, All Might whispers. In the flesh. Well, most of me. We did manage to deal some damage after all at our last confrontation. Of course, I returned the favor, but as you can see, it didn't stick. All for one says, at a grandiose wave of his hands. Now, I believe we have some unfinished business to attend to, but first, he looks towards Kirigiri. Kirigiri, bring Tomura back. Izuku goes to hit Kirigiri with another sound attack, but before he can, All for One holds up his hand, and strange pulsing red threads burst from his fingertips towards Izuku. Aizawa shifts between them, and they retract as Aizawa's eraser code. Kirigiri opens a portal, and Shigaraki stalks through it furiously. Ah, an eraser quirk. A changerous but fascinating quirk. All for One murmurs. Perhaps I should take it as my own. One can never have too many tools at their disposal. Do not let him touch you with his quirk. He can seal quirks, All Might warns, but Aizawa nods with a wary look at the man, eyes still glowing red. Izuku hears a soft sound, and he looks up to see a red feather floating down from above. Sorry to interrupt, but you all look like you could use some help. A voice calls out, and they look up to see a new figure perched on a nearby roof. Izuku recognizes those wings anywhere. Hawks. Aizawa shouts, as soon as he sees a number 3 hero. Take them and get them to safety. Aizawa orders, and golden eyes zero in on Izuku and Katsuki. On it, Hawk says, with a genuinely salute, as 2 feathers zoom towards them and snag their clothes, lifting them into the air. Sensei! Izuku calls out frantically. Go, Aizawa orders. The whole point of this was to get you 2 to safety. We can't fight at our fullest if we have to protect you too, Aizawa states bluntly. Come on, baby birds, we gotta get you somewhere safe. Hawks says as feathers deposit them on the roof in front of him. There is more help on the way. Eraserhead, All Might, Hawks calls out. Nezu got the word out. Then go. Aizawa shouts as the Nomu cover on them. Shigaraki rushes towards the building they're standing on. He touches it, and it starts to collapse as part of it disintegrates. Hawks wraps an arm around each of them and launches into the air with a heavy beat of his wings. Katsuki curses up a storm, demanding to be put back so he could kick their asses. Izuku just clutches at his arm around his waist, watching as the fight grows further and further away. Distantly, he can see more figures covering on the lights, but he's not sure if they're friends or foe. A helicopter passes overhead. They'll be fine, Hawks murmurs softly, and Izuku realizes he's crying. Have a little faith in them. Yeah, Izuku whispers. I'm not crying. You're crying. Oh my god. Okay. Whew, breathe in and out, breathe in and out, breathe in and out. I could do this. Okay. Okay, so what I'm gonna say is, wow, okay, first of all, Izuku is kidnapped, but he is basically like, I need to calm down, I need to do this, and he's basically doing what he's been taught, and he luckily was able to get out of that situation. Obviously, he was still being chased and stuff, but that is honestly super smart of Izuku, and using his training that Aizawa has given him. Another note, oh my god, I'm worried about Aizawa. I'm very worried. There's no major character death, obviously, right? At least I don't think so. But I'm still worried. I'm worried. I'm always worried. But, okay, I'm gonna do my little prediction. I feel like Izuku and Hitoshi will be like, alright, we have crushes and we don't want to ruin our friendship, but I could have died in that kidnapping. So, we have to live life to the fullest because we don't know when life is gonna end. Kind of situation. there's my theory. Let's see if it's true in tomorrow's episode. Tomorrow's gonna be the last one of this series. Oh my god, it's fast approaching. And I wonder what series I'm gonna do next. It isn't like I haven't asked in the community post. Oh my god. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, have a wonderful day or night. Join our community Discord server, link is in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.